Hey guys, I'm back and I was waiting for my kits to come in. I had a few of my Ali Edwards story kits and Stories by the Month kits that were missing, and I finally got everything in this last week. So now I'm going to work on catching up with my project life. So if you watched my previous videos for 2022, I believe I mentioned that I'm going to be using the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit for the last week of each month. So I was waiting for my January Stories by the Month kit to come so that I could do this final week in January. These kits this year have a few repeating elements. Sorry, my finger is blue. I had a little printer accident. And so these 4 cards, a variation of these is going to be in every single story kit this year. So I'm going to try to use those 4 cards. And there's also this one, 4x6 card. So I'm going to use this one as my title card, and I'm going to try to use these 4 cards in my spread. So I like the idea of doing this the final week in the month because I think these 2 cards I'm going to use to do like an overview of the month as opposed to this week, which is actually really good because this wasn't a very busy week. And I'm just kind of laying out cards that I might want to use. And let's see, this 2022 one, I think I would use this just because it's dated, but I think I'm going to save it and actually do a spread in my personal album about goals for this year. So I think I'll use it there. And then for 4x6 cards, I'm just kind of looking through here and laying stuff out. I think I'm going to use like this one to tell some 3 little stories. I don't have a ton of stories for this week because not a lot happened, which actually is great because I have these recap things. And then I'm looking at these. I think I definitely want to use like the 2022 just because it's dated, and then the January. There's also a bunch of 2022s and Januaries on these chipboard pieces, so I think I'm going to try to use those in the stamp here. I'm really going to try to stick almost exclusively within this kit. I'm also going to pull some basics from my stash, but I'm going to try to really use this kit and kind of just keep it very basic on that level. I printed out my photos, and I'm going to speed you up in a minute here and start cropping and laying everything out. Like I said, this week not a ton happened, so I only ended up having 4 4x6 photos, which is fine because I had a lot of things I wanted to include that were vertical photos as 3x4s, and I can use some of these 4x6 pockets for those. And then I printed this one smaller because it has a story, but it's not a great photo, and that way I can add the story next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and start putting this spread together. Okay, so as usual, the first step is cropping all of my photos out and laying everything on my spread and getting something in each pocket. I want to apologize for the lighting in this video. It is winter here and I use natural lighting to film my videos. So until the sky gets a little brighter and the days get a little sunnier, then it's a little difficult just to get good lighting in the winter here. But hopefully spring is coming soon. So I laid everything out, and you can see I have a couple of the 3x4 photos in the 4x6 pockets. So I still have some gaps there where I need a background, and I'm kind of just looking through the kit and seeing what I want to include as a background in those pockets, because I really like to have a base for every single pocket before I go through and start putting things together. I am going through the chipboard and laying some of the chipboard pieces out. This kit did have a lot of the word January and 2022 on it, so I wanted to make sure that I used it. So I went into my stash to pull out some background papers, and so I had that blue check one up in the top right that I believe is from Citrus Twist, some plain vellum for that January pocket, and then this navy cardstock for the background here that I thought matched the kit really well and my jacket. So for this card, I decided to use the word January from the stamp set and create a repeating pattern using white embossing powder. and this stamp, and I really love how this came out. I absolutely love the font that Allie used to write those words there, and I feel like this is one that I might want to repeat again later in the year with the other stamp sets, because I believe they're all going to have the month word in this similar font. So I'm really excited for that. I put you on super fast forward for the heat embossing because it does take a while to set, but it comes out so bright and crisp. I absolutely love how it looks. And you can see I flip it to try to blow the heat on the back, sometimes too, just to keep it from curling as much as possible. It still curls a little. You just can't get it perfect with that much embossing on the page, but once you put it in the pocket, it's not a big deal. Then now I have something in each pocket. So I'm going through, I pulled these label stickers from my stash, and I tend to work on the title card first. So I added a label sticker, and I'm adding my dates with the rolling date stamp, and I'm going to add one of the chipboards from the set that came in the kit. Like I said, I'm just trying to use up a lot of the ones that say 2022 or January on them, because if I don't use them now, I probably won't use them, especially the 2022 ones. The January ones I might use in a future year, but the 2022 ones I won't be able to use. So then I like to do a repeated embellishment cluster on one or on a few of the photos in the spread to kind of tie it together. So I decided to pull out these puffy white alphas that were from the Basics collection from Allie Edwards last year. And I wrote the word snow on here. After I stuck it down, though, I realized I wanted something to kind of ground the embellishment cluster. So I pulled out this silver washi and slipped it behind the alphas there a little bit and added a chipboard. Then I went in my stash and pulled out some word phrase strips that were in this navy color. The kit came with a red word phrase strip sheet, but I really wanted to pull in the navy some more because I had used so much of it on the spread and I really liked the way that it looked. Although the kit does have red pieces in it, I just happened to not use a ton of them. This photo here is a photo that we took at trivia of our trivia team. And so I'm adding the word trivia on there. I turned this photo to black and white because it's not a very great quality photo, but that doesn't really bother me that much. For project life especially, I'm not too worried about having technically great photos. Instead, I really want to just include the photos that capture the memories that I want to document. So a photo like this that is grainy and a little blurry, I'm not too worried about it. I just turn it to black and white so that it's not so awful and add it in here in a pocket. Next, I'm pulling all of my journaling cards because I like to do all of my journaling together because that way I can kind of figure out what is going to go into each pocket. So I have that sticky note there. I do this for every week. I pull notes from my day one app about the highlights of what happened during the week. And that way I can make sure that I cover all of the stories that I want to include and document everything on my journaling cards, and I don't either run out of space or have additional journaling cards and nothing left to write. So I did that one first where I told a longer story from the week. And then this three things card, I told 3 of the bigger stories from the week that were short. And then that moments card, it's going to be where I include those bullet points of little stories from the week, which is something I've gotten in the habit of doing on almost every spread. I have those Planner Kate stickers that I use as bullet points, and that sheet comes with so many of them, and they are technically for planning, but I do love to use them in my project life because they make such great bullet points to add some journaling. So I added them on all of these strips, but that navy blue one I skipped at first because I was worried that it was too dark for my black pen to show up. So what I ended up doing was getting my white Posca paint pen, and I wrote on there instead lots of snow. And I ended up tracing it twice so that it would pop a little more on the navy. And I really liked the contrast that this provided in the list. And I didn't really have another point I wanted to make anyways, so it worked out well. These last two journaling cards here, I'm using to do a recap of the month rather than things that happened this week. So this January gratitudes, I wanted to highlight 5 things that I was grateful for or positive things that happened this month. And I'm hoping that I stick with this throughout the entire year because I think it's a really great practice to do just in life in general, not even just in my album. To come up with what I wanted to include, I looked back over my Project Life album of what I had documented so far. Then I'm putting together this pocket, that filler card there that I created using vellum and the January, it's a fabric patch that came in the kit. And that one's going to be a transparent element that goes through to the next page. I don't do a ton of transparent elements in Project Life because you have to account for them on the next week. And I really like each spread to kind of be its own thing, but sometimes they're fun to play with. So I decided to do it this week, and next video, you'll see what I do with the back of it. Now I'm back to this card and I'm adhering my photo down and adding some embellishments. I do add a label sticker with a little bit of journaling about me walking at work. And I added a chipboard on there and decided to call that card done. Then I'm working on this one in the top right corner. I have a photo of the puzzle I'm working on and a photo of the door to our laundry room that is sealed with a workout rubber band because our dog is in the laundry room there, and the cat had recently figured out how to get in there over the dog gate and also how to open the door so that he could eat the dog food. And we wanted to make sure that he's not doing that during the day. So when we're not home, so we had to close the door like this, which I thought was funny, but a story that I wanted to include, even though the photo itself is not that interesting. And that's one reason why I printed it so much smaller. This photo here is my daughter looking through her albums, and I generally scrapbook for me because I love the process of scrapbooking and it's just such a huge part of who I am. But when other people do look through my albums and appreciate them, that really just reminds me of how important they are and makes me more motivated to keep scrapbooking. So I like to include that in there and take note of that moment. Finally, I'm doing the journaling on this happened card, which is going to be kind of an overview of the entire month of January. In contrast to the January gratitude card, which were 5 main stories, this is just kind of a highlight of the general theme of the month and more kind of like how I'm feeling and like an overview of life right now. And I added a couple embellishments, and then I'm just going to go through and lay everything out and try to get everything balanced on the spread. So you see there, I did kind of rearrange a few of the cards to balance the white space on the spread. And now I'm deciding to add another embellishment cluster on this photo of my lunch here because I had done trivia and snow on 2 of the cards, and I tend to want to repeat an embellishment cluster 3 times rather than 2. So I wanted to do another one here, and again adding the word phrase strips, the word, and the washi tape. Then I'm going through and slipping everything into the pockets and trimming as necessary. Typically, you have to trim the 3x4 card in that final pocket there. It's always a little smaller than 3x4 just because of the way that the page protectors are made and putting everything in its place. I do end up rearranging the cards a bit as I'm going through here. I realize, I don't like the way that the card that says yum on it is right next to the one that says snow because those have similar treatment. I want to space them out across the spread. I also didn't want the 3 things next to the January one. So that's it. And I'm just going through and putting everything away, looking through what I have still in the kit. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.